Sweeping epic fantasy, mega title sequels, iconic characters and worlds, upgrades to old titles and expansions on some of the best new ones. 2023 was a huge year for video games. One of the most saturated gaming years in a long time. I think, honestly, probably ever. I can't think of another 12 months that was so packed with amazing titles. With so many award-winning and massive titles being released, you'd think it'd be really hard for me to narrow down to the top 10, but I just went with the ones that I think are the most fun and that I played the most. Welcome to Gameless Plus. I'm Josh, and these are the 10 best games of 2023. I am not going to bore you with all the descriptions of all these games. This is all about my rankings and the awards that these games won, and why these games are on the list. Every single game on this list, and the ones that are just runners-up at the end, were all at least nominated for awards of some kind. Starting off at number 10, Lethal Company. This bizarre and incredibly entertaining multiplayer online cooperative horror game really came out of nowhere and surprised me. I had people at work who had told me about it knowing that I have a YouTube channel and really wanted me to try it out, and as soon as I played it, I realized I had been missing out. It's pretty awesome. The use of location-based audio within the game and some really genuine and hilarious jump scares along the way create an incredible cooperative online horror experience that really just feels great. The game had to land on my list because it truly was one of the most memorable and fun gaming experiences that I had in all of 2023. If you haven't tried it out, I highly recommend it with strangers or online with friends. I actually made a tips and tricks video for this game that you can watch right here. It didn't win any major awards, but it did squeak in the Better with Friends award from the Steam Awards. Next, at number 9, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. To be completely honest, I really didn't expect Super Mario Bros. Wonder to be all that great. But as it turned out to be one of the best Mario platformers ever made. Granted, it is based on the old games from the 1980s, but that's part of what makes it so great. It uses all the old school elements and mixes it with a ton of new and fresh ideas with its Wonder Flower concept. It managed to keep me fully entertained and engaged from beginning to end. I did a full, honest review of Super Mario Bros. Wonder that you can watch right here. In terms of awards, it was nominated for a few, but at the Game Awards, it won Best Family Game, which is very well deserved. At number 8, Metroid Prime Remastered. Metroid Prime Remastered is one of the best games you can possibly play on the Nintendo Switch today. The original game was released all the way back in 2003 on the GameCube. I just assumed it was really just a run-of-the-mill sci-fi action shooter, and I didn't realize that it was truly a masterpiece of a game all around. The fact that it holds up as such a fun and excellent experience 20 years after its original release is a testament to its incredible quality. I played the heck out of this game with my 7-year-old nephew by my side, cheering me on and helping me find all the game's little secrets. It's honestly a memory I will cherish for the rest of my life. Metroid Prime Remastered was not nominated for anything this year, but it did win a ton of awards back in 2003 when it was originally released. It doesn't really seem fair because Resident Evil 4 was nominated as Game of the Year even, and that was also a remake, but hey, what are you gonna do? At number 7, Hogwarts Legacy. The anticipation for games coming in 2023 really did begin with Hogwarts Legacy. It was definitely the first big release of the year, coming out in February on the PS5, which in a lot of ways I think actually hurt the game overall because it was overshadowed by so many other major releases as the year progressed. I just want to highlight that this game really is a solid and fun open world experience that brilliantly integrates the magic of Harry Potter's universe into a standalone story. The battle system is really fun, the graphics are nice, and it's honestly a really great video game recreation of Hogwarts, the school itself. There is so much to find and explore. I do feel like Hogwarts Legacy got a bit snubbed this year, but there was a lot of stiff competition out there. It did get a couple nominations for Most Anticipated Game, but it didn't win anything. If you're a fan of Harry Potter in any way, you've probably already played this. And if you're not, you could still enjoy this a lot as just a great fantasy game. You definitely want to take the time to enjoy this one. At number 6, Starfield. Starfield. The massive Bethesda space RPG, 25 years in the making, was finally released at the beginning of September 2023. It was easily one of the most anticipated games of the last 10 years, and it was met with a lot of disappointing reviews when it was released. I, for one, was not as impressed with it as I'd hoped I would be, but you know what, all around, it's still a very fun game. I feel like it's just a baby in terms of its potential as modders slowly but surely dig deeper into the vast universe of Starfield. It definitely doesn't have the same awe-inspiring wander around and do whatever kind of immersive feel that I got from Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, but Starfield still manages to entertain with that good old-fashioned Bethesda RPG gameplay. I do look forward to playing the expansion that's coming out for it and playing this game as it advances and gets modded for years to come. I really do have a lot of hope for it, and it really is fun. There's a lot of negative stuff about it. It's not the most amazing, incredible game like we were hoping, but it is still a really great game. At the Golden Joystick Awards, it won Best Xbox Game of the Year, which is kind of a given. Very quickly, if you're enjoying this video, this is the perfect time for you to hit that subscribe button. I just recently hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, which I'm very excited about. Now let's go for 10,000. Also, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps. Next, at number 5, Resident Evil 4 Remake. Back in 2005 on the GameCube, I played Resident Evil 4 for the first time, and it was amazing. The current Resident Evil 4 remake that came out in 2023 recaptured the fun and awesome gameplay better than I could have ever imagined. The graphics are downright gorgeous, and maybe the best example of a remake graphically that I've seen so far. As I went step by step through this game, it felt very fresh, even though I'd played it all in a much lower resolution all those years ago. For new players, this is a brand new experience that really does rival that of any of the other games that came out this year. And honestly, it's arguably better than most of the other Resident Evil games out there. This is the type of Resident Evil gameplay style that I fell in love with. I'm not as much a fan of the first-person perspective in the newer games, but they are still great games nonetheless. I hope that this game was a good example for them, and with Resident Evil 9 they go back to the third-person perspective. I would love that. Resident Evil 4 Remake was so great that it was nominated for Game of the Year at the Game Awards. I don't really feel like it should have been nominated for Game of the Year since it was a remake, but it really was a brand new game to most people, and it's amazing, so I get it. As for actually winning awards, it did win Best PlayStation Game at the Golden Joystick Awards. Next up, at number 4, Final Fantasy XVI. I've been playing Final Fantasy games ever since 1997's original Final Fantasy VII. The games have always been very turn-based experiences throughout the years, and with Final Fantasy XVI, the mold is really broken in a whole new way. I wasn't sure I was going to enjoy the game because of the fact that it is now really an action RPG, but it still managed to pull off that Final Fantasy charm with a much more adult, Game of Thrones-like story and feel. All the crazy crystals and super powered up summons and abilities really pull together an amazing and worthy Final Fantasy sequel. The storyline is great, the voice acting is awesome, and all around this game is a solid addition to the long-running series. If you've never played a Final Fantasy game, this may not be the absolute best place to start as an example, but if you like action RPGs and you're going in blind, I'm sure you are in for an awesome time either way. It's just hard for me to imagine playing this game before all the other amazing games. It's just so many great memories with so many great characters over the years. But this one's really great too. At the Golden Joystick Awards, it won Best Audio, with the Best Performer award going to Ben Starr, who plays Clive, our main character in the game. It also won Best Score and Music at the Game Awards, which I cannot agree with more. It is seriously an epic soundtrack. Next, at number 3, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. This may just seem like a game expansion on the surface, but along with it came the 2.0 update for the game. In so many ways, the update along with the expansion really turned Cyberpunk 2077 into the game it was always meant to be. The original game's release was plagued with horrible glitches and to many people was downright unplayable. Throughout the years, and with this update and expansion, this game has become a truly incredible experience. I did a full honest review of Phantom Liberty along with Cyberpunk as a whole that you can watch right here. The new expansion has a great story, great new gameplay elements, and jaw-dropping graphics that give us a small taste of what the next game will probably look like, along with a new TV show that's going to come along as well, which I'm sure both of those are a very long way off. Bottom line is, if you've never played Cyberpunk 2077, you owe it to yourself to play one of the most immersive, impressive, and beautiful games to be released in the last 10 years. The Phantom Liberty expansion is like icing on a delicious cake that originally was not so good. At the Golden Joystick Awards, it won Best Game Expansion and Best Game Trailer. I feel like if the game was in its state that it is now when it was released that year, it would have easily won Game of the Year. It's truly great. Next, at number 2, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom is flat out one of the most incredible and fun gaming experiences out there in the world, and will remain that way for a long while. It was originally supposed to be an expansion for the original Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and in some ways it just kind of feels that way at the beginning because it's so similar to the first game. But as you play, you realize that the game's mechanics like Ultra Hand make this a whole new build-your-own beast. And you know what? The storyline in this game is actually really good, in addition to its excellent and innovative gameplay. I made an entire video about the competition between this game and the number 1 game on my list that you can watch right here. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is a true masterpiece and very easily the defining game of the Nintendo Switch system. You've probably already played it, or if you haven't, you know someone who has and that absolutely loves it. It was nominated for a plethora of awards. At the Golden Joystick Awards, it won Best Nintendo Game and Most Wanted awards, as well as winning Best Adventure Game at the Game Awards. Finally, landing at number 1 on my list, surprise surprise, Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 really took the gaming world by storm. In a year so full of massive, great releases, this landed at the #1 spot on my list, just barely edging out Tears of the Kingdom because its absolute rich amount of choice within the game. I've already made a whole video about this that I mentioned before that you can watch right here. I was debating whether or not I would put this as #1 or as #2 between Tears of the Kingdom and this, but I had to land on Baldur's Gate because it really got me playing CRPGs again after all these years. I've talked to a lot of people who are in the exact same boat, who never even liked turn-based games of any kind, who absolutely love Baldur's Gate 3. Honestly, it even got me playing Divinity Original Sin 2, which is also an amazing game from the same developers. At the Game Awards, it won Best Performance, Best Role-Playing Game, Best Multiplayer, Best Community Support, the Player's Voice Award, and of course, Game of the Year. At the Golden Joystick Awards, it won Best Storytelling, Best Visual Design, Best Community, Best Supporting Performer, Best PC Game of the Year, and the Ultimate Game of the Year award. Needless to say, it was the most awarded game of 2023 by a landslide. So these are all the games that I chose for my top 10 because I actually played them all. This list might have turned out differently had I played Alan Wake 2, which at the Golden Joystick Awards won the Critics' Choice Award. At the Game Awards, it won the Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, and Best Art Direction. Or if I'd played Spider-Man 2, which was nominated for awards, or the Dead Space remake, which is supposed to be amazing, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, both of which were also nominated for awards. I am still for sure going to play all 4 of those games. As far as honorable mentions go, there are so many that were nominated and won awards as well, like Diablo 4, Street Fighter 6, Armored Core 6, Pikmin 4, Hi-Fi Rush, and Lies of P. All of those are fantastic games and were nominated for awards, and some of them also won. Such a vast array of great gaming to catch up on from last year, it's ridiculous. So there you have it, the 10 best games of 2023, along with some other great titles that were also released. 2024 does not look anything like 2023 in terms of big releases. I for one am thrilled about that fact because I'll have plenty of time to catch up on all the stuff that I didn't get to play last year. What do you think? I already know a lot of you disagree with me on the Baldur's Gate 3 being the #1 game on the list, but that's just my personal choice. What was your #1 game for 2023? What do you think about 2024? Is there anything that you're really excited about? Let's talk about it in the comments below. I read all the comments and do my best to respond to everything. Please shoot me suggestions for things you'd love to see me talk about in upcoming videos. That's it for today, but while you're here, why don't you check out this video that I did about the 10 best MetaQuest 3 games. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time on Game List Plus.
I saved you. And I'm here to save you again.